The story opens in the frozen wastes of Europa, a distant moon of Jupiter, where the human research station Aurora 1 stood against endless ice storms, and inside, Dr. Kira Hayes, a skilled archaeologist, examined ice cores with careful precision, scanning for traces of microbial life or unusual mineral formations. But today she noticed something strange. Embedded deep in the ice were crystalline artifacts. Unlike anything from Earth, their surfaces etched with alien symbols glowing faintly in hues of blue and green, each artifact pulsing as if alive, and Kira's heart raced as she realized these were not natural formations but devices of unknown origin. She carefully extracted one and wiped layers of ice away, revealing inscriptions she could not read immediately. The symbols seemed to shift subtly under her gaze, almost as though they were trying to communicate, and then her instruments picked up a faint energy signal, unusual and repetitive, as if the artifact was sending a message. She called her assistant, Dr. Malik, who watched in disbelief, the two of them staring at the strange patterns and glowing pulses, when suddenly the satellite cameras above Europa picked up an odd signal coming from Earth itself, repeating over centuries in encoded bursts that no one had noticed before, and Kira, intrigued and terrified, realized that this signal matched the patterns etched into the artifact. The connection was too precise to be a coincidence. She carefully began decoding the crystalline inscriptions, using pattern recognition software and her knowledge of extinct civilizations that humans had learned about from interstellar records, and slowly the symbols revealed a note, a warning from a species long dead, a species whose own empire had vanished without trace. The words appeared in her mind as clear as if spoken. "Do not awaken what Earth guards," and Kira's hands trembled as she read them aloud, Malik looking at her with wide eyes, understanding the gravity of the message. The warning repeated across multiple artifacts, all from different dead civilizations, each leaving behind similar messages, etched, encoded, or hidden in objects that survived the passage of millennia. She realized with growing horror that the civilizations that had come into contact with Earth had not survived, entire species erased from history, and the pattern was undeniable, each warning tied to the same location, the same planet, and the same force that Earth held secret. Kira knew that if these warnings had been ignored in the past, the consequences had been catastrophic, and now humans were only beginning to glimpse the danger. The suspense grew as she considered what exactly Earth was hiding, a weapon, a guardian, or a secret of unimaginable power. She looked around the frozen research station, imagining alien fleets approaching, civilizations trying to probe Earth, only to vanish mysteriously, their records left behind as cryptic warnings. She felt a shiver run down her spine as the ice core she was examining cracked slightly, revealing another artifact, larger than the first, and it hummed with energy, synchronized with the pulse of the first one, and Kira noticed strange lines forming on the ice as if the moon itself was reacting to the artifact. The walls of the station rattled slightly, sensors picking up energy fluctuations that made no scientific sense. She called a meeting with the station's crew, showing them the decoded note and the glowing devices. Their skepticism quickly turned to alarm as the pattern became clear, that civilizations who had encountered Earth's secret had paid the ultimate price. The warnings were repeated, etched into history, surviving only as artifacts buried in ice, hidden in ruins, or left in floating debris, and now the humans had discovered them, and the implications were terrifying. Questions raced through Kira's mind. How had Earth been able to guard something so powerful? What was the secret that could destroy civilizations? Why had no one noticed it before? And what role did humanity play in it? The suspense became almost unbearable as more artifacts emerged from the ice, each pulsing, each containing fragments of messages, coordinates and warnings. The room filled with tension as the crew realized that they were standing on the edge of something far greater than they had ever imagined, and Kira, despite her fear, felt a spark of determination. She would decipher the mystery, understand the warnings, and uncover the truth of what Earth guarded. She spent hours cross-referencing the signals from the artifacts with historical records, satellites, and deep space scans, finding patterns that suggested Earth had always been at the center of galactic attention, civilizations rising and falling around it, and each failure to heed the warnings had cost lives on unimaginable scales. She and Malik debated the implications, knowing that humanity might now be the next species to face the attention of whatever force or guardian lay hidden. And as the first Europa night fell, icy winds rattling the station's walls, the artifacts pulsed brighter, responding to the human presence, almost as if acknowledging their discovery, and Kira felt a mixture of awe, fear, and urgency. She had to act. The fate of humanity might depend on whether they understood the notes before repeating the mistakes of past civilizations. The camera systems picked up another anomaly in the distance, a shadow moving beneath the ice, large enough to suggest a dormant machine or structure buried for millennia. The suspense intensified, pulses of energy from the artifacts synced with the shadow, the warning from the dead civilizations echoing louder in Kira's mind. Do not awaken what Earth guards, and she stared at the ice, her pulse racing, knowing that uncovering the secret would change everything about humanity's place in the galaxy. The question lingered in her mind like a dark cloud. Why had so many civilizations failed to survive, and could humanity now be different? And as she set up instruments to scan the shadow beneath the ice, the pulse from the artifacts grew stronger, almost like a heartbeat, and the wind outside howled as if in warning. And Kira knew that the first 5 minutes of discovery were only the beginning of a journey into danger, mystery, and the ultimate truth of what Earth had been hiding for eons, and the story of humanity's encounter with the dead civilization's secret had only just begun. After the shocking discovery on Europa, Dr. Kira Hayes and her small team prepared their research ship, the Aurora 2, to trace the strange signal emanating from Earth, the pattern repeating over centuries now pointing to specific coordinates in the outer asteroid belt. And as they left the icy surface of Europa, Kira could not shake the feeling that unseen eyes were watching them, the artifacts pulsing faintly in rhythm with the ship's engines, almost as if guiding them, and the crew worked frantically to analyze the symbols, realizing that every note left by the dead civilizations contained layers of warnings, instructions, and maps that had to be decoded before it was too late, each message hinting at a terrible power that Earth had guarded, something so dangerous that entire species vanished after coming near, yet no one knew if it was a weapon, a guardian, or a living entity. And as the Aurora 2 navigated through the asteroid belt, sensors detected a massive derelict ship, drifting silently among the rocks, larger than anything human engineers had ever designed, its hull covered in ice and dust from centuries of neglect, strange glyphs etched into its surface pulsing faintly with energy, and Kira realized that this ship might belong to one of the civilizations that had died attempting to uncover Earth's secret. She felt a shiver of fear and excitement as the crew suited up and boarded the vessel, every step echoing in the empty corridors, lights flickering as if the ship were awakening from a long sleep. And when they reached the control center, holographic recordings sprang to life, showing images of alien worlds, fleets, and cities destroyed, each message signed by species now extinct, the warnings repeating, "Do not seek what Earth guards. We failed, and so will you if you ignore this." Kira watched in disbelief as simulations showed fleets destroyed by energy pulses, cities obliterated, and entire planets left barren, and she realized that the warnings were not exaggerations. They were records of real history, every extinct species leaving behind fragments of their failure to teach others. And as the team explored deeper, the ship's systems suddenly powered up, responding to the artifacts they carried, lights flashing, machinery humming, as if recognizing human presence, and one holographic projection spoke directly to Kira, its voice mechanical but clear, warning her that humans were now in the same position as the civilizations that had fallen, and only by understanding the secret could they survive. The tension grew as sensors outside the ship picked up unknown energy signatures moving toward the asteroid belt, alien scouts investigating the pulse emitted by the derelict, and Kira realized that their presence had been noticed, the same way entire civilizations had been noticed before them. The suspense thickened as she deciphered coordinates leading closer to Earth, realizing that each artifact left by the dead civilizations created a chain, a breadcrumb trail of knowledge, yet deliberately incomplete to prevent careless discovery. She had to solve the puzzle without triggering the catastrophe that had destroyed countless species before, and as they analyzed the ship's data core, another warning appeared, stronger than before, flashing red across all monitors. The Guardian awakens only when provoked. Do not awaken it lightly. Kira's heart pounded as she thought of what that could mean, and as the Aurora 2 left the asteroid field, she noticed strange energy waves moving ahead of them, like invisible ripples in space, reacting to their trajectory. The dead civilizations had left not only warnings but signs of the Guardian's reach, and the team realized that Earth itself might be connected to a force that extended across the solar system, ready to respond to threats. And the suspense deepened when sensors detected that some of the alien scouts had started chasing them, faster, more agile than human ships, clearly monitoring the pulse emitted by the artifacts, and Kira knew that if they were caught unprepared, humanity could meet the same fate as the dead civilizations. The ship shook slightly as they entered a dense asteroid cluster, requiring precise navigation, while the alien scouts closed in, each movement critical. The crew's tension mounting as they balanced decoding ancient warnings with surviving pursuit, and as Kira studied the artifacts, she discovered a cryptic star map hidden in the holographic projections, pointing toward hidden locations in the outer solar system. The locations seemed to correspond to sites where past civilizations had attempted to uncover Earth's secret, yet all had failed and vanished. The notes describing energy anomalies, fleets destroyed, and cryptic messages emphasizing patience, respect, and caution. Kira realized that humanity could not simply rush to Earth's secret without learning from history, but the pursuing aliens left them no choice, and as they plotted a path through the stars, the derelict ship began to emit a low-frequency hum, resonating with the artifacts, and Kira felt a chill run through her spine, sensing that something ancient and powerful had been disturbed. The suspense peaked as the alien scouts fired warning shots, forcing the humans to maneuver carefully, and the team finally understood that the derelict was more than a warning. It was a test, designed to reveal those who could approach Earth with caution and intelligence, the same way past civilizations had failed or succeeded partially, and Kira knew that the next step, following the hidden coordinates closer to Earth, would determine whether humanity could survive what the dead civilizations could not. And as the Aurora 2 jumped to the next set of coordinates, the pulse of the artifacts grew stronger, almost like a heartbeat in space, and Kira whispered to herself, "We are next. But maybe, just maybe, we can succeed where they failed." And the story's suspense left the crew and the audience on edge, wondering what they would encounter next and whether the secret Earth guarded would welcome or destroy them. After escaping the alien scouts in the asteroid belt, Dr. Kira Hayes and her team followed the star map embedded in the derelict alien ship's holograms, which led them to a hidden moon orbiting a gas giant beyond the orbit of Neptune. The moon appeared lifeless at first, a barren rock coated with ice and craters, but Kira noticed subtle energy readings rising beneath its surface, synchronized with the pulsing of the crystalline artifacts they carried. And as the team prepared to land, the tension was thick, every crew member aware that the slightest misstep could awaken something they did not understand. The ship's instruments detected a massive underground structure, partially buried in ice, its size unlike any human engineering, and symbols identical to those on the Europa artifacts glowed faintly on the surface. Almost as if acknowledging the humans' arrival, Kira could feel her pulse quicken, her hands trembling as she activated the landing sequence, each step toward the moon's surface heavy with the knowledge that civilizations before them had failed when approaching Earth. And as the shuttle touched down, the ice beneath them groaned and shifted, revealing the entrance to the ancient machine hidden within, a doorway large enough to fit a fleet, yet covered in alien ice that pulsed like it was alive. The suspense built as Kira and her team disembarked, cautious, scanning for energy surges, life signs or traps. But the moon remained eerily silent, only the hum of the artifacts filling the air, and when they finally pried open the icy gates, they revealed a massive interior, dark and cavernous, filled with alien technology dormant for millennia, consoles, towers, and conduits snaking into shadows, the glowing symbols reacting to the humans' presence, the artifacts vibrating in resonance, as if guiding them deeper into the structure. Kira stepped forward, scanning every surface, every glyph, deciphering what she could, and then she noticed a central chamber, larger than a stadium, with a console at its center, covered in carvings depicting humans, aliens, fleets, and strange energy bursts, the story of wars that no one knew had taken place. And the central console began to pulse as she approached, lights running along the floor and walls, following her movements, almost like the machine was aware of her presence. And Kira hesitated, knowing the warnings from dead civilizations echoing in her mind. Do not awaken what Earth guards, yet. Curiosity and duty forced her forward. She reached out and touched the console, and immediately, the machine responded, humming, shaking, and sending pulses of energy that spread across the moon, reaching into space, and the holograms of extinct species appeared, replaying their final moments as fleets were destroyed, cities fell, and civilizations vanished, all because they had awakened Earth's secret without understanding it. Kira stepped back, heart racing, yet the console continued to hum. And a new hologram appeared, showing a figure that resembled a guardian, an enormous energy construct, neither fully alive nor fully machine, protecting Earth silently for millennia. The suspense was almost unbearable as Kira realized the scale of what they had discovered, and she understood that the warnings were not threats, but lessons, teaching civilizations how to approach Earth with caution and respect. And as the team explored further, more systems activated, revealing maps, energy fields, and even coordinates to unknown locations around the solar system, places where the Guardian had tested or observed other species. Kira's mind raced, realizing that every pulse of the artifacts, every warning from the dead civilizations, had been part of a network designed to teach restraint and wisdom. And as she continued to study the console, she noticed a subtle pattern, showing that the Guardian was partially linked to humanity itself, that humans were not just observers but participants in the secret, their presence on the moon awakening signals meant for them, and the tension grew as the machine began projecting simulations of possible futures, showing fleets approaching Earth, encounters with hostile aliens, and disasters avoided only through careful choices. The team watched in awe, trying to understand which outcomes were possible and which were warnings, and suddenly the structure shook violently, as if reacting to some distant threat, energy surges lighting up the chamber. Kira realized that by awakening the machine, they had sent pulses across the galaxy, alerting distant civilizations and possibly provoking attention they were not ready for. Panic mixed with excitement, the suspense reaching its peak, and she knew that the next decisions would be critical. One wrong move could trigger the same fate that had wiped out entire species. And as she and her team gathered around the central console, the artifacts pulsed brighter, almost like a heartbeat, whispering of threats, possibilities, and the great secret Earth had been guarding. And Kira understood that they had entered a game of survival, knowledge, and strategy, one that required intelligence, courage, and unity. And as the alien scouts detected the pulses in the distance, approaching the moon, the tension was unbearable, leaving the audience wondering what would happen if the Guardian awakened fully and whether humanity could survive the consequences. The suspense stretching across the stars, the team bracing for the unknown as the story promised discovery, danger, and the ultimate revelation of Earth's hidden power. As Dr. Kira Hayes and her team absorbed the full scale of the Guardian's power, alarms on their instruments suddenly blared, warning of approaching alien ships. The same scouts that had chased them through the asteroid belt had detected the energy pulses from the hidden moon, and the crew's tension spiked as Kira realized that these aliens were intelligent, relentless, and fully capable of destroying them before they could understand Earth's secret. The Aurora 2 and the landing team scrambled to prepare defenses, while Kira tried to decipher more of the Guardian systems, scanning the central console for ways to protect themselves without awakening full destruction. And the alien ships appeared on sensors, dozens of sleek, dark vessels cutting through space, their intent clear: seize the coordinates and neutralize anything in their way. Panic and adrenaline surged through the crew as they quickly moved to hide the artifacts and activate emergency shields on the moon's surface. But the pulses from the Guardian had already broadcast their location, and Kira realized they could not run. They had to face the pursuers, using intelligence and strategy rather than sheer force. And as the alien ships closed in, the central machine's energy waves pulsed faster, responding to the danger, systems activating that the humans did not yet fully understand, showing simulations of tactics, vulnerabilities, and defensive maneuvers, the suspense escalating with every passing second. And Kira understood that the Guardian itself was guiding them, teaching them how to survive, and she had to make split-second decisions, directing the crew to use the terrain of the moon, the ice tunnels, and hidden energy nodes to set up traps for the alien ships, while simultaneously trying to decipher the final warnings left by the dead civilizations, each note emphasizing restraint, patience, and strategy over direct confrontation. And as the first alien ships attempted to land, they triggered energy pulses from the Guardian, non-lethal but powerful, disabling weapons and engines, forcing them to retreat temporarily. The humans watched in awe as the Guardian acted like a teacher and protector, and Kira realized that Earth's secret was not just about destruction, it was about balance, a system that allowed civilizations to test their courage and intelligence without unleashing total annihilation immediately. But the alien ships regrouped, sending scouts through underground tunnels, testing human defenses, and Kira's team barely managed to intercept them, using the artifact's resonance to confuse and repel the intruders, the tension never letting up. Every decision mattered, and mistakes could be fatal, while the Guardian projected holographic scenarios of past encounters, showing civilizations that had failed to heed the warnings, fleets destroyed in minutes, entire cities vaporized, lessons left too late. And Kira's mind raced, connecting the dots, realizing that humanity was now part of the same chain, and only by understanding, respecting, and carefully acting could they survive. The suspense intensified as one alien ship managed to breach a surface tunnel, triggering a localized energy surge from the Guardian, which disabled its systems temporarily, giving Kira and her team a narrow window to act, and as they moved swiftly, using the simulations projected by the Guardian, they set traps, redirected alien squads, and lured them into areas where the moon's ice amplified the Guardian's pulses, disabling engines and communications, every move coordinated by Kira's careful planning and the subtle guidance of the machine. Yet the alien fleet's commander remained persistent, sending reinforcements, and the humans had to adapt quickly, improvising with the limited resources they had, turning the moon into a labyrinth of defensive positions, each designed with lessons from the notes of dead civilizations, the suspense gripping as every engagement brought danger closer to the team, and Kira felt the weight of responsibility, knowing that failure could mean repeating the history of extinct species, and as the battle stretched into hours, she realized that the Guardian was teaching more than defense. It was showing humanity the importance of unity, courage, and intelligence, qualities that had allowed them to survive so far, and with every pulse, energy wave, and holographic guidance, the humans learned, adapting, predicting the aliens' movements, striking strategically rather than with force alone, and the tension built further as Kira noticed an alien squad attempting to access the Guardian directly, risking a catastrophic response. She ordered a risky maneuver to intercept them, coordinating the team like a conductor of an orchestra, using both artifacts and terrain to create a perfect trap, and as the alien squad fell into the ambush, the Guardians' energy pulses disabled their systems completely, leaving them stranded. Unable to communicate or escape, the humans watched in awe as the power of Earth's secret demonstrated itself without causing mass destruction. Kira finally understood that the Guardians' lessons were not only for survival, but for proving worthiness, and as the alien commander retreated, clearly frustrated and cautious, the humans had survived the first test, but the suspense remained high. The galaxy was now aware that something powerful protected Earth, and humanity was its steward, and Kira realized that the journey had only begun. The Guardian system still held countless mysteries, each waiting to teach humans how to defend themselves and understand the true nature of Earth's secret, and as the crew gathered around the console, exhausted but alive, the artifacts pulsed in unison, the holographic simulations showing the next stage of discovery, the suspense lingering for the audience, who now waited with bated breath for what would happen when Kira and her team uncovered the ultimate truth behind the secret that had destroyed countless civilizations before them, leaving viewers on the edge of their seats, eager for the next chapter in the story. After surviving the first wave of alien scouts, Dr. Kira Hayes and her team realized that the real challenge was only beginning. The energy pulses from the Guardian had intensified, spreading through the moon's underground networks, and the simulations projected from the central console revealed a far greater threat. A massive alien fleet approaching the solar system, unlike anything humanity had ever faced. The notes from dead civilizations were now clearer than ever, emphasizing that the key to survival was not just courage, but understanding, patience, and coordination. And as the Aurora 2 sensors tracked the incoming fleet, Kira calculated that the aliens had coordinated attacks spanning several light hours, their speed and numbers overwhelming, and the team worked frantically to prepare defenses while decoding the remaining messages embedded in the crystalline artifacts, discovering maps of energy nodes, hidden weapon systems, and coordinates of ancient relics buried across the solar system that could amplify the Guardian's power, each discovery sending shivers down their spines as they realized the scale of what Earth had been hiding for millennia. And Kira understood that they were now custodians of a force that could either protect or destroy entire civilizations, and time was running out. The alien fleet sensors had already detected the Guardian's pulses, and probes were entering the outer solar system, testing defenses, sending signals that could provoke a catastrophic response if not handled correctly. The suspense was unbearable as Kira coordinated with her team, instructing them to activate energy conduits buried deep within the moon, linking them to the Guardian, each pulse calibrated carefully to avoid overloading the system and revealing too much. And while the human defenses activated, holographic simulations showed past civilizations failing at this exact stage, fleets destroyed instantly, homeworlds devastated, and entire species erased from existence. The weight of history pressing down on Kira, she realized that the Guardian's purpose was to test, guide, and protect, and the humans had to prove they could learn from the past, not repeat it. And as the alien scouts probed closer, the team intercepted communications, revealing strategic information, which Kira used to predict the fleet's approach, every calculation critical, every second vital. And as the first alien capital ships emerged from the outer solar system, enormous and imposing, the human team deployed defensive energy pulses, channeled through the moon's structures, amplified by the Guardian, disrupting shields and engines of the enemy ships, and the suspense rose as humans witnessed the first wave of attacks fail. The alien fleet stunned by forces they did not understand. Kira realized that the dead civilization's warnings had prepared them, that knowledge and caution could win over raw power. But the main fleet was still coming, larger, faster, and far more dangerous, and as they prepared for the next stage, Kira noticed hidden energy conduits under the oceans of Earth responding to the pulses from the Guardian, linking the planet itself to the defense system, revealing the ultimate secret that Earth had been quietly guarding, a system capable of neutralizing entire fleets if properly activated, but extremely delicate and dangerous if triggered incorrectly. The suspense was almost unbearable as Kira coordinated with global stations to activate protective measures, each action carefully timed with the Guardian's rhythm, and every crew member understood that a single misstep could destroy humanity before they even had a chance. And as the alien fleet approached the inner solar system, the Guardian's energy waves pulsed stronger than ever, a living network of defense and guidance, showing humans the importance of intelligence, courage, and unity. While the alien scouts were caught in traps designed by humans and guided by the machine, systems failing around them, engines stalling, communication disrupted, and the suspense kept building as the main alien fleet finally came into range. Massive ships stretching across kilometers of space, their weapons ready, their intent unmistakable, and Kira had to use everything learned from the notes, the artifacts, and the Guardian to prepare for what could be humanity's final test. Activating ancient energy fields across the moon, projecting pulses into the approaching fleet. Simulations showing the outcomes of every possible engagement, guiding humans to strike strategically and survive, the tension unrelenting as the alien fleet advanced, unaware of the full power awaiting them, and Kira realized that Earth's secret was not only a guardian but a teacher, a system that demanded respect, intelligence, and restraint that the dead civilizations had failed to understand. And humanity now had the chance to prove that they were worthy, the suspense reaching its peak as the fleet's vanguard approached the outer planets, sensors detecting pulses from Earth's hidden systems, simulations showing massive destruction if the fleet continued without caution, and Kira coordinated the final defenses, linking human technology with the Guardian's ancient energy network, ready to protect the planet, the artifacts glowing brighter than ever, guiding them like beacons, and as the fleet drew closer, the suspense left the audience on edge, wondering whether humanity could finally survive what countless civilizations before them had failed to endure, proving that the warnings left behind were not threats but lessons, and that the fate of the solar system rested in the hands of humans who had learned from the past and now faced their greatest test. The final stage of the crisis began as Dr. Kira Hayes and her team activated the Guardian fully, the pulses from the crystalline artifacts synchronizing with the hidden energy networks beneath the moon. And across Earth, the planet itself responded, subtle tremors, electromagnetic surges, and energy flows connecting to the Guardian, as if the entire solar system had become a single, living defense system. The alien fleet now fully in range, massive vessels moving with deadly precision, unaware of the power awakening around them, and the suspense was almost unbearable as the first energy waves radiated outward, disabling smaller scout ships instantly, engines failing, communications gone, the fleet thrown into confusion, and Kira realized the Guardian was teaching them the final lesson. Power without understanding was dangerous, but guided intelligence and courage could control unimaginable forces. The team worked tirelessly, coordinating simulations projected by the Guardian with real-time actions, redirecting energy pulses, activating defensive grids across the solar system, and every action had to be precise. One mistake could trigger catastrophic chain reactions. The alien ships attempted to regroup, firing weapons that were instantly neutralized, as energy shields formed spontaneously, pulsing like living light, and the humans watched in awe, their hearts racing. Knowing they were witnessing the full scale of Earth's secret, the Guardian was no longer passive, it was alive, responding to both threat and strategy, and the alien commanders realized too late that their assumptions about human weakness were catastrophically wrong, their fleets powerless against a system they did not understand, and as Kira analyzed the projections, she saw the simulations of extinct civilizations flashing across the central console, showing how their failure had led to complete annihilation, and she understood that humanity was the first species capable of learning from the warnings, combining courage, intelligence, and unity to survive where others had not. The suspense built as massive alien ships attempted to breach the inner solar system, only to be thrown back by massive energy pulses amplified by the Guardian, asteroids and debris shifting as if moved by unseen hands, fleets disrupted, navigation systems scrambled, and Kira guided the Aurora 2 to channel additional power from the moon's ancient conduits directly into the Guardian, the system responding. Instantly, the energy waves spreading like ripples across space, neutralizing weapons, disabling propulsion, and forcing retreat. The alien fleet's confusion grew, and panic spread among their commanders, the humans now fully in command of the situation, yet careful not to provoke total destruction, the suspense rising with every second as the Guardian projected the final warning messages from the dead civilizations, repeating the lesson of patience, strategy, and respect, showing that power could destroy, but wisdom could protect, and Kira felt the weight of responsibility, knowing that humanity's future hung on understanding and not recklessness. The alien fleet began a slow retreat, their systems crippled, communications jammed, unable to regroup, as the Guardian maintained a protective barrier across the solar system, energy pulsing and shimmering like a living shield, and Kira finally allowed herself a breath. The suspense now mixed with awe as the full secret of Earth was revealed, that the planet had long been protected by a system far beyond human technology, designed to test, guide, and defend, and the artifacts they had discovered were not weapons but keys to understanding, teaching civilizations how to approach with intelligence rather than force. And as the last of the alien ships disappeared into deep space, Kira and her team explored the Guardian's final interface, revealing coordinates to hidden caches, advanced knowledge, and energy nodes scattered across the galaxy, waiting for humanity to learn, the suspense lingering as the audience realized the magnitude of what had just occurred, a race against time, a lesson from extinct civilizations, and a demonstration of the power of courage, intelligence, and unity. And as Kira looked at the glowing artifacts, she saw images of past civilizations fading away, leaving behind only their warnings, and understood that Earth had chosen humanity as its first species worthy of surviving, learning, and mastering the secret, the story concluding with the solar system safe, the Guardian humming peacefully, the artifacts pulsing softly, teaching but not threatening, and Kira whispering to herself, "We finally understand. We are ready," leaving the audience with a mix of suspense, awe, and satisfaction, knowing that humanity had faced what countless civilizations before had failed to survive, proving that the human heart, courage, and intelligence were not weaknesses, but the ultimate strength. And as the Aurora 2 left the moon's surface, the galaxy seemed to exhale, the pulses of energy returning to a calm rhythm, the secrets of Earth secure yet shared, and the story closed on a note of triumph, wonder, and the promise that humanity had finally earned its place among the stars, ready to explore, protect, and learn from the lessons of the past.